Welcome everyone. I'd like to welcome everyone. Just waiting. I think we're still getting some more people that are coming on, I believe. Okay, yeah, we're still just getting, but yeah, we'll get started. So I'd like to welcome everyone. Today's topic, we're going to be talking all about how GST and how you can easily lodge your BAS with TaxLeopard. We'll also give you some tips how to minimize GST. If you're an Uber driver, you need to lodge a BAS every quarter. So we'll be discussing all the areas and give you BAS tips and support as well. So let's get started. So just a little bit about us. Who is TaxLeopard? TaxLeopard is a all-in-one accounting and tax solution. So you've got the software side where you can keep records of all your income and expenses. We've got a banking integration, and on the other side, we've also got we've got accountants on the other side. We can lodge all your BAS statements and all your tax returns as well. So it's an all-in-one solution. You got the software which records everything, and then you got accountants in the background that can assist you with all those lovely ATO tax lodgements. So some of the stuff that we're going to be covering today is, do I need an ABN? Do Uber drivers need to register for GST? What is GST? How is it calculated? We'll be covering some of that stuff. Required records for Uber drivers. This is important, especially when you're lodging a BAS. What expenses can I claim on my BAS? What can't I claim as well? Sorry to disappoint. Do I need to keep a logbook as well to prepare my BAS? Also, understanding your BAS obligations. We'll also include some stuff that a lot of common mistakes that we see as well. And we'll also have an exclusive offer for some drivers at the end of this as well, how you can basically lodge your BAS for free with TaxLeopard. And at the end of it, we'll just have a Q&A section, a Q&A session where you can ask any question you like. I might not be able to answer them all, but I will do my best. We had a lot of questions last time. Just bear in mind, if we don't get through all the questions, we will get back to you with all the questions at the end of it as well, and we can answer that separately offline. Okay, so do I need an Australian, an ABN or an Australian business number? As you would have known when you first signed up, Uber would have asked you to provide an ABN. So the answer is yes. Quite simply, just what is an ABN? It's an 11-digit number. Basically, the ATO knows that you are a contractor, and it's just like a tax file number, for example. You need your tax file number to lodge your tax return. An ABN just tells the ATO, hey, I'm a contractor or self-employed. Here's my ABN. So plus you put it on all your invoices if you're sending out invoices and stuff like that. But everyone needs an ABN if you're self-employed. That's the short of it. So okay, so first of all, what is GST, right? So, and the other question is, as an Uber driver, do I need to register for GST, right? So GST is simply another tax the ATO introduced. It's recorded on any income you earn, and you can also claim it on all your expenses as well. So in short, if you are an Uber or rideshare driver, you have to register for GST. There's no rule. You have to register for GST from the first dollar that you earn. It's best to explain it over the next slide. So here it is here. This is just a little diagram that we've prepared. But it falls under two categories, right? So I'm either earning, if I'm earning under 75K, right, and I'm only doing, for example, food delivery only, then no GST registration is required, okay? If I'm only doing food delivery and I'm earning over 75K, then I must register for GST and either lodge it monthly. Most people lodge quarterly as well. So the only exception where this does not apply is once I become a rideshare driver. It doesn't matter how much I'm earning. The ATO has made it mandatory that all rideshare drivers must register for GST, and they need to lodge a BAS or GST every month or quarterly. Like I said, most people lodge quarterly. So that's hopefully that graph helps a little bit as well. Okay, so the next one is, so how is it all calculated, right? So that's a common sort of question. So we'll give you two examples here, right? So basically, you've got your, let's say for the quarter, all right? So we're lodging our GST for the quarter, and I've done 11,000 in sales, or it could be passenger fares. So basically, it's a very simple. There's two calculations here. Basically, your GST on sales is literally you'd get the 11, your total sales, okay, and the formula is you divide that by 11, okay, and that would give you an amount of $1,000 GST payable, right? Then you total up all your expenses. So for example, this is just an example. Say I had $5,500 worth of expenses. The GST that I can claim on all my, so expenses will reduce your GST bill. So then you do 5,500. It would be divided by 11 is $500. So let's say I've collected on my sales. So this is the formula. Effectively, I've collected $1,000 on my sales, less the GST on my expenses. I'd have to pay $500 to the ATO for the quarter. The only other time is if you get a GST refund, right? If your expenses can sometimes be higher than your income, right? So if roles were reversed and I only had $5,500 worth of sales, I'd have to pay the ATO $500, but then I've got 11,000 in this case of expenses I can claim. So I'd actually get a GST refund from the ATO for that quarter. So I've pretty much just reversed the same figures. This is just to show you how it's all calculated. But effectively, this is just another tax that the ATO, GST is just simply a separate tax. So just keep in mind, GST is always separate to your income tax as well. If you need to register also for GST, we can assist you through TaxLeopard. You can sign up, submit a form, and we can get you registered pretty quickly. So, and obviously, if you need an ABN as well. So that's just a quick little reminder there if you need assistance. Okay, so next one's super important because required records for Uber drivers. Now, basically, it's quite important, right? So when you're lodging a BAS or GST quarterly statement, there are some requirements that you do need to keep, right? So general requirements is you should have receipts and invoices. You can also use bank statements, right? So if you're not registered for GST, then expenses of any amount, receipt or invoice or your bank statement will suffice. So this is just providing evidence if you were to ever get audited. This is what the ATO would ask, right? So, but if you are GST registered, then some different rules apply here, right? So effectively, any expense over $82.50, which doesn't really leave you much room in terms of, so it does require, for GST purposes, it does require an official tax invoice, right? So it doesn't really like you can just, I'm sure a lot of drivers here would put fuel in their car and they're probably paying a lot more than that per tank, right? So that would require a tax invoice if you were required to say, hey, how did you calculate all your expenses? So record keeping is very important, especially if you are registered for GST. That's the short of it. So the next one is, what are some, I am getting some people just raising their hands. We will have Q&A at the end of it as well. So just be patient. That'll be at the end of this. You can ask as many questions as you want. So, okay. So so this is in relation to GST, right? What expenses can I claim on my BAS? Okay. So your vehicle is going to be your biggest BAS deduction or GST deduction, right? So what can I claim? Definitely all your fuel, vehicle registration and insurance is another one. Repairs and maintenance, servicing and stuff like that is another item you can claim on your BAS. Any sort of car cleaning. This one's a big one, and so if you purchase a new car, you can claim the GST and get a big refund on that, right? So that's super important. What I've seen, I guess this is heading more, a lot of people start Uber driving, and they purchase a car beforehand. So say they start, say I purchase a car today, but then I don't register for GST for another 3 months when I actually start. It's actually smart to actually purchase your car while you're about to begin Uber driving, right? Because you can claim the GST on that purchase, right? So I see that time and time again. A lot of drivers, or it could have even been 6 months earlier, they purchased the car and then they thought, all right, 6 months later, I'm going to become an Uber driver, but they're not registered for GST. So I think that's just important to, it's a good little trick. So if you're going to purchase a car and you're thinking about Uber driving, try and do it all in one, register for GST, claim the GST. So any sort of rental or lease payments that you may rent a car and you have lease payments or rental payments, you can claim all those rental payments. So it's a little bit different from a car purchase, but you're claiming those rental payments that you're paying probably every week. Parking fees, road tolls as well. And I think we've put in cleaning twice, so apologies about that. So I just picked on that now. So so the next one, so these are some other expenses that you can also claim as well. So stuff like stuff that you use for ride sharing, for example, mobile phone and internet expenses that are relating to your business use, any sort of ride share or platform fees and commissions, anything you provide like snacks or water or mints to your passengers. Some may not have GST as well. I just thought about that. So water generally doesn't, but yeah, most sort of things do have GST. Passenger comfort items, e.g. like phone chargers and stuff like that. Tools and equipment that you may use, phone mounts, GPS devices, dash cams and stuff like that. Any sort of music subscriptions. You may have, you know, your Spotify, I think it's YouTube Music. You can claim all that because you can sort of say, hey, I use that while I have passengers on board. So yeah, perfectly fine to claim that. So just a little trick there. Accounting, and so then you've got your admin expenses. So anything like your accounting and tax agent fees is also claimable on your BAS. Stationery and any sort of office supplies or any software or apps that you use for managing your rideshare business. For example, TaxLeopard or any other software as well. And then you've got some other deductions as well. Again, that GST are applied to, but things like training or courses, advertising or promotion, business cards and promotional materials, your first aid kit as well. If you do any courses or have a first aid kit, that is also, you can claim that. And along with, so with sunglasses as well, it's not prescription glasses, but if you have, for example, if you use you may need just like normal sunglasses that protect your eyes from the sun. They're claimable, but not prescription glasses. If you need to wear glasses, that's actually not claimable. But sunglasses used to, because you're driving, you're on the road, that's perfectly deductible as well. So, okay. So just another thing on this with vehicle expenses as well. I've included only items that you can claim on your BAS. Just keep in mind, there are other costs when you're preparing your year-end tax return. Things like depreciation. You could have a car loan as well, which you can claim interest as well. Those items, depreciation, interest and stuff like that, they're GST free. So you don't pay GST on those items. So it's a separate, so that's why I've kept that separate. I've strictly classified the main expenses you'd sort of claim on your BAS that will reduce your GST bill, I guess. Just I wanted to point that out. So what BAS expenses can't I claim as well? So any sort of personal use of your vehicle cannot be claimed, as well as personal phone use. So personal so the business component you can claim that, not the personal use as well. Personal clothing, unfortunately, you can't claim that. You're not required to specifically wear a uniform while you're working, unless you're required to specifically wear a uniform with a logo, which you're not. That's when you can claim it, I guess. And there'll be a few disappointed drivers in this, but unfortunately, any parking fines or traffic violations is not tax deductible, or you can claim any sort of GST on that. So, and late payment penalties. And also, if you're on the road, any sort of meals and drinks and stuff like that is generally not tax deductible, and you can't claim it on your BAS as well. So, sorry to disappoint. There'll be a few people disappointed, but unfortunately, that's just the rules. Okay, so the next one we commonly get a lot of questions is, do I need to keep a logbook, right? So to prepare my BAS, right? So first of all, what is a logbook? Let's just first classify what is a logbook. So basically, you're keeping a logbook for a period of 12 consecutive weeks, right? This will determine your business use percentage. So basically, you need to track all your kilometers for a period of 12 weeks, start to end, all your business trips and all your personal trips. At the end of it, you usually get like what is called a logbook business use percentage. So for example, I'll just give you an example. Let's say in the 12 weeks, I had recorded 10,000 worth of kilometers for a period of 12 weeks. I can see that, for example, 8,000 of those kilometers out of the 10,000 relate to business. The other 2,000 is personal. then I'd be able to claim 80% on all my vehicle expenses. So this would apply for your GST as well when you're lodging your BAS, and your year-end tax return as well. That's provided you've kept a logbook as well for a period of 12 weeks. Okay. So there's just some pros and cons, which, generally we recommend you do keep a logbook. But do I need it to prepare my BAS? So the quick answer is you actually don't need to have a logbook. It's recommended, right? So basically you can, if you've just started or just about to complete a logbook, the ATO you can actually, for your BAS return, you can actually just give a reasonable estimate of your ride share versus your private use, right? So the quick answer is you don't need to have a completed logbook. We recommend always, even if you haven't completed one, you should be starting one. But to lodge your BAS, a quick estimate is fine. You could do like a mini logbook where you might just record, 2, 3, 4 weeks or something like that. Obviously, the more weeks, the more accurate. But you could start a logbook and say, okay, it looks like I'm using my car roughly for 90% of the time. That's what I'm going to claim on my BAS. But you should still be completing a logbook for the full 12 weeks at the end of it. So it's a good little tip, because we constantly get that question. Hey, I haven't completed my logbook. What do I do? I want to lodge my BAS. So there is a way around it, but always back it up by actually completing a logbook as well. So hope that makes sense. And then just last of all, these are the sort of your key lodgement dates. Like I said, we're mainly, you want to get into the habit of lodging your BAS quarterly is what we recommend. You can lodge it monthly as well, but I think there's a lot of admin work. I think just keep it simple. Do it every 3 months is a lot easier than doing it, so doing it 4 times a year is a lot easier than doing it 12 times a year. We do get some people that do it monthly, but we recommend quarterly. But so these are sort of you've got, it's broken into 4 quarters. You've got your quarter 1, which is from July to the end of September. Quarter 2, which is from October to December. So you record all your income and expenses from these dates when preparing your BAS. Then you've got Q3, which is the March quarter. And you've got Q4, which is the June quarter, which is from 1st of April to the 30th of June. If you do decide to lodge it yourself, you can lodge it through MyGov as well. These are the due dates. If you lodge it with a tax agent, we usually get, it works out to roughly about a month extension. So you can see, if you will lodge it yourself, if you lodge it through us, you get that extra month as well. Tax agents just get an extra month to lodge it. The only quarter that doesn't apply is the quarter 2 for some reason. Don't know why the ATO have done it like that, but it's always been due on the 28th of February, whether you're lodging it yourself or through a tax agent. Okay, so what do we see? Some just last of all as well. What do we see? Some common BAS mistakes that we see costing you a lot of money as well, right? So definitely a big one is, not keeping accurate records, right? So failing to keep receipts and invoices for expenses. If you're not, I guess, organized, keeping all that, it's going to cost you money in the end. Because you could be missing out on a lot of deductions. So keep those receipts, get used to keeping some sort of record. Obviously, TaxLeopard can assist you with that as well. But Yeah, we constantly see that. We get a lot of drivers coming, hey, I'm 12 months behind, I'm 2 years. Okay, well, where's all your records? Oh, it's all over the place, right? So that's why it's super important, because it's actually going to cost you more money in the long run, because you don't know where you've put all your invoices or your expenses, or there could be, which leads me to mixing your personal and business expenses as well. So we constantly see a lot of drivers have different bank accounts, and they're paying for stuff from different accounts. You can do that, obviously. There's no issue with it. The only issue is it basically you're mixing everything, and it's just going to cause a bigger headache. Again, it comes back to that record keeping. It's going to cost you more money in the long run as well. So we recommend just keep one account, throw all your business expenses in there. That's it. It doesn't have to be a business bank account as well. It can just be a normal everyday account, but just keep it consistent, keep it in the same account. Just so much easier, and you've got all your records. That's what we recommend. Then also maximizing deductions. I guess that can lead to trying to do it yourself as well. Missing out on claiming eligible expenses. Like I said, you could save in the short term in terms of not paying an accountant to do it, which is great. Some people can do it themselves, and that's totally fine. But you want to maximize the deductions, and at the end of each quarter, you want to pay. It's a separate tax. You want to pay as little GST as possible every quarter. That's what you want to aim at. So then not reporting all income as well. So if you are earning income from different rideshare platforms, and you have other self-employed income, so you could be doing another side hustle, you actually do need to report all that income. So and if you're registered for GST, all that income, whether it's rideshare, whether I'm doing another side hustle, needs to be included as well. Paying too much GST, again, that sort of lodging and trying to do it yourself may result in paying more GST. We see it time and time again. A lot of drivers try and do it themselves, which is great, but they end up paying way too much GST. So it kind of, yeah, for the small fee, it could cost you, hundreds of dollars, if not, in some cases, thousands extra. Also, missing deadlines. I've seen it. ATO is getting much stricter now. You've got those due dates that we were talking about. Lodge it on time. If you're missing deadlines, I can't remember what the penalties are, but I think they start in the per BAS lodgement. It's usually about 1,000 and something. But you don't want to do that. You don't want to have penalties from the ATO for lodging late. So just bear in mind, the ATO is getting much stricter on that now. I've seen them chasing up a lot more. They're a little bit more lenient during the, I guess we'll call it, lockdowns and stuff like that we had during COVID. But now they've really ramped up. It's like, okay, it's business as usual. ATO want their money, lodge it on time. And just quickly, we'll also send you, but this is just a quick summary on how to process or how to lodge your BAS with TaxLeopard. You can sign up to the TaxLeopard app. You can manually, step one is you manually enter your income and expenses in the TaxLeopard app. Alternatively, we have a bank account. You can link your bank account. You can go as far back as 365 days of data, which is handy if you're a little bit behind, but you can link it or enter them manually if you don't want to link your bank account. Then you submit your BAS with all your transactions through the TaxLeopard app. We'll receive that on our side. We'll download all your transactions. We'll go through with everything. Make sure you're maximizing all your, it's usually maximizing all your expenses to reduce that GST if you do a GST bill, and stuff you may miss out on as well. So we'll contact you if anything information is missing. And then, if we're happy with it, we've made the adjustments, we'll lodge it on your behalf to the ATO. So we'll send out something after this as well on how you can do that as well. Q&A. I know I've already got some hands. So there's a little Q&A. I can see there's already a lot of questions. So just give me a sec. Okay, so let's get started. So just type in your question in the Q&A box, if you can. I know that there's another question box, but okay. So the first one, sorry, how can I access the recording after this? Sorry, how can I access? Yes, we'll send everyone a recording. Whoever's registered, whoever registered but didn't attend, you'll still get a copy of the recording. Yes, we will send that out. Okay, so I'm currently running Uber through my company, so proprietary limited, and use Xero accounting. But if you're happy with your software using Xero, no, you don't need TaxLeopard. If Xero works for you and you understand it, totally fine. So the short of it is no. We've just made it a lot simpler. Xero, I use Xero myself, but Xero is great for that. If you're running employees, it's a little bit more complex. We've simplified our software for the self-employed individual, generally speaking. So it's just, if you just need that basic stuff, where Xero can get a little bit more complex. I've seen a lot of people jump on Xero, and it's great for those medium to large size businesses. But yeah, hope that answers your question. So short of it is, if you're happy with Xero, keep using Xero. But yeah, feel free. I'll plug in us as well, saying feel free to give us a try. We've got a 30-day free trial. Maybe you might find that easier. Okay, so total income includes government charges, which doesn't have GST. Do I need to deduct that from gross income before calculating GST? So in short, we can send something as well, but I don't have it in front of me, but Uber will send you a monthly tax summary with your total income and total deductions for the month. So literally there's two figures you need to pick up. Sorry, three, I should say. There'll be your total income, right, which includes all your charges and stuff like that. Okay. Then you'll also, another thing that you do need to pick up is they'll have a separate item for tips that you may get while driving. And then there's all your total deduction, which includes all your charges and stuff like that. You're literally just picking up those figures. We can send something on that, an example for a monthly tax summary. Perhaps that's something we can also do, but they're usually the figures that you need to pick up. Okay, so can I claim GST on renting a car? Owner is asking transaction through cardless cash. Okay, I don't quite understand what card, but effectively, yes, you can claim GST on renting a car. I'm not sure what cardless cash means, but please give me one. Cardless cash where, so look, at the end of the day, this is the simple rule. If you are paying for it, for that car out of your pocket, all right, so physical cash, then yes, you can deduct it. That's probably the easiest answer there. So the next one, if I get a fine while picking up a rider, is it tax deductible? I like that. You probably want to get the you probably want to get into a fight with the passenger. Unfortunately, no. I don't want to go into the legal side of it. I know the tax side of it, but usually I would say no. You should be also the riders, obviously, if the rider's doing the wrong thing, I know it does happen. You should be parking in a spot where where it's legal to sort of park there to pick up the rider. So, and that's probably, if you had that argument, they'll say, well, why are you doing the wrong thing and picking up the rider? And I do get it. You've got that pressure where the rider's like, oh, they're already there. But in short of it, I'd say no, it's not tax deductible. All fines are just not tax deductible. But that's what I would do. I would be focusing a little bit more like, hey, no, you need to come here. You're doing the wrong thing. I know it can be a little bit hard, challenging, but hope that answers your question. So no is the answer. Okay, so I joined Uber Eats in April. How can I find out how much tax I need to pay? My rough income is $15,000. If that will also depend on your other income. So generally speaking, the first I think it's 18,200 that you earn is tax-free, so you wouldn't have to pay. But if you had other employee income as well, then that would change it as well. So if it's just from Uber Eats, then you wouldn't have to pay any tax on that because it's under the threshold, which I think is about 18,200. But yeah, that can also depend on your other income as well, and if you have any other income, e.g., employee income as well. Okay, so I purchased a new car in February and started Uber driving on Uber Eats in August. I understand I cannot claim. Yes, so I think that yes, so you're an Uber Eats driver. I think you're supposed to say, I understand that. Yes, because you're not registered for GST, you can't claim the GST on that. Yes, you can claim depreciation. There are so the answer is yes, you can claim depreciation. No, you can't claim the GST, obviously, as well, because you wouldn't be registered if you're only doing Uber for GST, that is. So I hope that answers your question. So everyone can claim depreciation. GST rules don't apply. So provided that you've kept the logbook. So the next one, for fuel claims, I always pay over $90 every time, and they just give me a receipt. Yes, yes. So yes, the receipt that they give you from the petrol station is a valid tax invoice. So. Okay, I'm earning less than 70K on Uber. Still, do I need to pay GST? Yes. So again, because you are hang on, I'm earning 70K on Uber. Still, do I need to? So provided, I'm not sure if you're a rideshare driver, but it sounds like you are. I'm guessing. So if you are a rideshare driver in that example, yes, you need to lodge a BAS. If you were just doing food delivery and that's your income from that 70K, then actually you don't, because you're under the 75K threshold. So it mainly, so if you were, for example, in that earning over 75K and you were a food delivery driver, then you actually would need to register for GST. So, but if you're a rideshare driver, it doesn't matter how much you're earning, you need to register for GST. So, and just so you know as well, the ATO is also looking at that. I'm starting to see all the amounts that you're earning through Uber is now being reported. I'm starting to notice it on all our clients as well. So the ATO, this gets reported now to Uber is now reporting it to the ATO, and it's actually showing up on our ATO pre-fill report. So this is something that I've seen. It's actually happening. They've been talking about this. So just bear that in mind. The ATO, unfortunately, is getting a lot stricter now. And we're seeing it more and more because there's a lot of, gig workers, a lot of platforms, they're cracking down on it as well. So yeah, if I forget what it's called, but reporting something, resume or something. Anyway, we can send it after this as well. Is there a limit for cleaning and snacks as it's hard or not possible? No, there's as cash is used most of the time. So there's no limit, provided, yeah, that's actually a good point. So hence the reason why the ATO also allow that under $82.50. If you remember that slide on the ATO, you don't have to have an official tax receipt if it's under $82.50. So if a lot of those items, I'm assuming, are well under that. So yes, you can claim it if it's under you don't need a valid tax receipt unless it's over $82.50. That's the short of it, to claim it on your GST. But yeah, I understand that cash can be used on a lot of those items. So yeah, that's probably why the ATO have a little bit of an allowance there under the $82 mark, I guess. So is it free to use TaxLeopard services? So we do have a subscription. So just like our other question where Xero have a subscription as well. So that will give you, we've got a banking integration, invoicing, logbook feature. We do need to charge something on that. We're well cheaper than a lot of other software like QuickBooks and Xero. We've got a 30-day free trial. And if you want to get started as well, just give it a try, see if it suits you. That's what I recommend. No strings attached. You can cancel at the end of it. So yes, we do charge for the software with all the features that we provide. So hope that answers. And then you've got just our, if you need an accountant as well, if you need to lodge your BAS, you can lodge it yourself through the app. If you'll have all the data in there. You can also use an accountant. And if you want us to lodge your tax return, you can also do that. That's a separate fee as well, just so you know. Yeah, it's a service, that's an add-on service that we provide. Some people just use our software, some people use us for both. So next one, I used lease the car. Oh, sorry. Lease the car and use it 100% for Uber. Do I still need to? Yes. So the short of it is, I'm sure you do use it 100%. The ATO just, if you were to get an audit, they would say, okay, where is your logbook? So everyone is required. The good thing about a logbook is you just need to do it once. And then you record your kilometers for a period of 12 weeks, and then it's valid for 5 years anyway. So if you've got 100% business use, just do it once for 12 weeks, then valid for the next 5 years. So, okay. I'm also a carer and I don't get paid for kilometers. Can I add those kilometers to my BAS? So that's a separate, I think that's you're getting a little bit confused. There is another method that you can use. It doesn't, there's the cents per kilometer that you usually use for your end of year tax return, I guess. But there's the logbook method. And then there's also the cents per kilometer method. So, sorry, I just dropped. Sorry, I just added. Yeah, I'm also. Yeah, so I think you're getting confused. You're not claiming kilometers effectively. You're either keeping a logbook, right? Which I explained that you've got to keep a record of all your business and personal kilometers, or the cents per kilometer is another method. We can send some notes on it after this, but it's not as effective. You want to use the logbook method. It's going to get you a much better tax deduction. We can send some more, it's a little bit more complex, but we can send some updated notes after this as well. Okay, how to maintain a logbook for official rideshare and personal rides. So I think that some of our notes was covered there on how to keep a logbook. Effectively, it's again just recording all your kilometers. So, like I said, if you've done 10,000 kilometers for the quarter, as an example, and 8,000 of those kilometers relate to ride share or business use, then you would record. You're basically recording your kilometers for a period of 12 weeks and trying to work out, okay, this is how many kilometers I've done, right? In simple terms. And this is how much I use my car for personal purposes, right? So at the end of it, look, we can send you some more details on that as well, on keeping it, but also just the TaxLeopard app has a logbook in there as well. So you can sort of use that as well if you like, but we can send some further notes on that as well after this webinar. Okay, if I'm just food delivery Uber driver and earning less than 75K, do I need to lodge a BAS? So no, you don't. If you're just a food delivery driver and earning less than 75K per annum, you don't need to lodge a BAS. That's it. That's the simple term. That's it. So, okay. Can I claim car loan repayments, GST? So the simple answer is no, right? So the way it works is when you purchase a car, let's say I purchase a car today, and let's say it's $40,000, right? I would claim in my BAS, I would claim that $40,000. So whatever that works out, let's just call it 10%. It's roughly, it's a bit less, but it's roughly about $4,000. So that effectively you're claiming all the car up front, right? So what's separate? So for example, I purchased a car for 40,000. I claim that in my BAS today, that 40,000, the ATO would give me a $4,000 GST refund, right? So if you're claiming your repayments as well, you're doubling up because you've already claimed the car. Hope that makes sense. Then if you've got a loan, a loan obviously attached to it, you can claim the interest on the loan as well. But that's not a GST item. That's a tax return item, okay? Hopefully that makes a bit of sense. But in short of it, no, you can't claim car loan repayments because you're claiming the car up front. How much? So I'm assuming this is what we charge. So we charge for our accounting fees is 179. So, and that includes everything. We don't, there's no hidden surprises. It includes if you've got employee income, if you've got ride share or self-employed income, any sort of deductions. You can even have rental properties in there. We get a lot of clients having a lot of rental properties, so we just charge one fee. There's no hidden costs. So hope that answers your question. Where to download TaxLeopard? I'm guessing this one's where to download TaxLeopard. There's the website is taxleopard.com.au. Or TaxLeopard, just one word. We'll give you just at the end of this webinar, we'll give you the website and stuff like that as well, where to download it. I've missed the personal tax section. Tax session you run last month. Yes, we can provide that to you. Maybe just send us an email at support@taxleopard.com.au and we can get that to you. After pay GST, do I need to pay income tax? So yes, effectively, that's a good question. Yes, so GST, remember, we said GST is a separate tax, right? So then on top of that, after you've lodged all your quarterly BAS statements, unfortunately, if you've got the income that's reported in your tax return, if you show a profit, then you've got to pay some tax on that as well. So, because you haven't paid any tax. So GST is one tax. Then once you lodge your tax return, there's income tax as well. So We see a lot of drivers getting confused with that. So, okay. So, hi, Michael. I tried to log in through your app website for some reason. I'm not. Reach out to us if you can on support@TaxLeopard, and we can assist you with that as well. If you're having a few issues, I'm trying to find by taking, yeah, just reach out to us, support. In the app as well, we have like a help thing as well. So just raise a ticket and we'll be able to assist you there. Um, I have registered for GST, only do food delivery, which I know I received. So I don't quite understand this question, but effectively you're registered for GST and you're doing food delivery, then I would say to you, you don't need to register for GST unless you're earning over 75K. So I hope that answers your question. We've already had that. Yes, we'll send the webinar recording after this. I've already answered that. What is the difference between an ABN? So effectively, I think what you're sort of saying there is what is the difference between me being a sole trader versus running a business in a proprietary limited company. So it's just a different structure. So a proprietary limited company is separate to you effectively. So a lot of people will set up a company. There's asset protection. It can, in some cases, minimize tax as well. But effectively, you're either running the business in your personal name, I myself, or I'm running it in a company, which different tax laws apply. So most people, I've seen overkill. I've seen some drivers register a proprietary limited company. The only time I'd recommend the company is if you're earning a lot. Your income needs to be high. That's not because there's a lot of tax benefits. You pay a flat tax rate of 25%. But in most cases, it's overkill. You don't need to set up a company. That's what we recommend. And there's some more stuff as well. I can't go into it all, but there is some asset protection as well, setting up a company. So will the ATO be lenient if I've already missed the previous BAS deadline I started? Look, generally speaking, they're not. I would definitely start getting it in, right? But you don't want to leave it too late, because they will start applying penalties. Like I said before, the ATO I've seen a bit of a ramp up with them. At the end of the day, you got to look at the ATO as their revenue is the taxes and GST that the taxpayers pay. So again, just get it in. Usually, if you know, just what I'd recommend is just get it in as early as possible. Definitely start, but yeah, I can't tell you, but I've just seen a bit of a ramp up in terms of what the ATO are doing. So that's a bit of a tough one to answer here. How can you calculate and deduct car depreciation? Perhaps we can answer this after, but there's a few different methods available. There's different depreciation rates, but effectively, it's simply, it depends on the value of the car. There's a few different methods that you can use, but I think that's something, it's quite detailed. It's probably not something I can do on this live, but we can send details of different car depreciations after this. I thought you could not claim tolls. No, you can claim tolls. I'm not sure who's giving you that advice, but if you're using it for your you're going through tolls all the time. I know that sometimes Uber reimburses you for the tolls, but there's also sometimes where you may need to go to pick up a passenger and you do go through tolls. So you can definitely claim road tolls as an Uber driver. What happens if I never declare the BAS? Well, this is the thing now, right? So you can do that. You can choose not to declare it. But like I said, I'm seeing the ATO and Uber is now reporting when you provide your ABN to Uber needs to report that income. They're working now with the ATO. You might get away with it for a little while, but they're ramping up on it, where they're now starting to say, okay, well, you've got this income here. This has been reported. Why haven't you lodged the BAS? So you can try, but there's not much you can get away with the ATO these days. Okay, I've not filed for the last 2 financial years. What penalty is for late lodging of BAS? Look, you still may not, the ATO may still be lenient and not have applied any penalties. Sometimes I've seen them apply penalties straight after you lodge it as well. You are fairly behind. If you're 2 years back, there is a high chance you will get some penalties, but again, I don't know the ATO's criteria. I can just tell you what I've seen, and they're getting much more stricter and applying more penalties. So, any benchmark for expenses? Look, we've seen some of our, and I'm not saying like everyone does this, I guess, but basically, I've seen some like, a good example would be like, I don't know, say you've earned $1,000 of income for the quarter, right? And you've put in $5,000 worth of fuel expenses, right? That to me is a bit of a red flag, because it's like, well, how have you spent that much based on your income? So there's stuff that we look for as well. It's a lot of it's just common sense, but is there benchmarks? I'd have to have a look. Sometimes the ATO does have benchmarks for certain industries. We can maybe, this is an offline one where we can maybe send, we'll see, we'll have a look on the ATO website. How do you link my bank account to the app? So it's really simple. Once you sign up to TaxLeopard, you literally press a button, link my bank account. We use one of the biggest banking integration companies called Yodlee. It's very secure and safe. You enter your customer reference number. We can't see this, by the way. Just we've had a few people. It's like, how private is this? It's very, very private. We don't, you enter your customer reference number and password, and it just brings in the transactions. We don't see any of that. It's like I said, that's why we use high level of security. Plus one of the biggest banking integration companies that zero users, called Yodlee as well. So very safe and secure, and they've been around for years. Can I claim if I purchase used vehicle from an agent or private? That's a great question. So if you're purchasing from a private, so if you're purchasing from, so first of all, there's 2 places you're going to purchase a car. You're going to purchase a car privately. So if you purchase it privately, unless that person is registered for GST, which generally they're not, then you actually can't claim it, right? If you go to a car yard, so you buy it from a car yard, they're always registered for GST. Oh, sorry, apologies. They're registered for GST. And you can claim the GST on that. So, can I claim rent, own fees entirely? I don't quite understand that question. I'm guessing you're asking about if it's in relation to you're renting a car. Absolutely, you can claim that. If it's your private rent, I'm not sure there. If it's your private rent, then no, you can't claim that. I have 2 cars, one for personal use and one for Uber. Can I claim 100% GST? I think that's so yes, you can claim 100% GST if you've got a reasonable estimate for GST purposes. But at the end of it, I'd recommend also keeping a logbook as well. So you're sorry, definitely keep a logbook is what I'm saying. So you can do an estimate for GST, like we said before, a mini logbook, but yes, definitely keep a logbook. If I have 2 cars at home and separate of the business and will I be able to claim 100% of the car? So I don't quite understand your question, but effectively, whichever car you're using, 100% of the car, if it's used my second car. Okay, sorry, it's a bit of a confusing question, that one. But effectively, look, if you've got two cars, one is used for ride share, or sometimes we get some clients that have two cars, right? So they might use two cars for ride share. You can actually claim both. There's no issue behind that, provided they're both used for Uber and you've kept the logbook and stuff like that too. So there's no issue with that, and we've seen that. We have had clients that have multiple cars. Sometimes I think it's finished now, but Uber used to have a rental one as well where you could rent your car. I think they've stopped that from memory. Okay. Do we have to pay GST tips received? Yes, you do, unfortunately. Tips includes GST. Sorry to disappoint. It's just what the ATO said. I just bearing in mind, we'll do a few more questions. There's a lot of questions here. I've still got another 215, a lot of questions. I'll do a few more. Can you claim your existing car like cleaning? How often? Can you claim on our existing car? So yes, you can. I'm not sure what you mean by existing car. Any sort of expenses that you have relating to that motor vehicle, that you can claim all your cleaning costs and all the other car costs. I like this question. What accounting package do you recommend? Xero, MYOB, I would say other, and I would say TaxLeopard. Look, again, it's perfectly up to you. We've had a lot of feedback saying Xero, MYOB is very complex. You're more than welcome to try. They do have some free trials, but can be a little bit harder to navigate. I myself use Xero for our business, I guess, which has employees and all that stuff. Xero is more suited to that. I wouldn't use TaxLeopard for that. So again, it all comes down to, at the end of the day, it's not about the software, it's how easy it is to use, right? So give us a try. We've got a free 30-day trial. Give it a crack. And if you like it, keep using us. If I'm earning less than 75, do I need to pay tax? Yes. So it doesn't matter how much you're earning. Everyone needs that income needs to be reported in your tax return, and you will, if you've got a profit, you will need to pay tax on it. What about charging EV at home? How do I claim tax on that? Great question. The ATO, I think we explained it on our previous webinar. But effectively, there's a rate that the ATO have given. It's not much. It's like 4.2 cents per kilometre, which is not a lot, when you think about it. I think if you work it out on, 1,000 or 10,000 kilometres, I think it's like 420. So you can use by the number of kilometres you've done. Otherwise, the better way I'd recommend is get a breakdown of your electricity bill, see how much it's costing you to charge it, and multiply it by whatever the electricity company's costing you. It's a little bit more work, but you're going to get a better tax deduction. How much is TaxLeopard if I use? So Xero starts, their very basic package, I think, starts at about $30, and doesn't even include a lot of the features we have. Ours includes a lot of what Xero does, and it starts at $11.99 a month. So, and we've got an annual subscription as well for $110, so much cheaper. I can't remember. I haven't looked at Xero prices for a while, but I can tell you it gets quite expensive very quickly. Thank you for clarifying. No problem. All right, I think we're going to end it here, guys. So I'm just keeping we've gone a little bit over time. What we'll do, sorry that there is just way too many questions. I'd be here till till nighttime trying to answer them all. But what we can do is after this webinar, we've got a copy of all your questions. We'll send out with this webinar recording, and we'll answer a lot of these commonly asked questions as well, because a lot of them do double up. But we'll send it in one email after this webinar. Do apologize, I can't answer everything. Yeah, just keeping track of time as well. So, okay, so finally, thank you for joining us. Like I said, we will get back to you with all the questions. If you do have questions, sign up to TaxLeopard. There's a help function in there. You can send stuff to support at TaxLeopard, but in the app, once you're registered as well, if you've got some tax questions as well, that's probably a good time to ask us. Ask us through, sign up. We'll be able to assist you with any questions. Yeah, like I said, we've got a help section that you can just raise a ticket and our support team will get back to you. Again, thank you guys. Do appreciate your time. I hope this has been useful to you. And yeah, like I said, reach out. You can reach us at taxleopard.com.au, sign up. We've got multiple points of contact. Reach out to us, any questions. Thanks, guys. Hope you enjoyed this webinar. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers, guys.